What's going on? Welcome everybody. Late night live, but you know what? That's sometimes how this goes. So, what's going on, everyone? I could not take tonight off. There's just too much going on. Have you guys noticed the Psyop going on right now? It's going to new levels, baby. New levels. So, of course, I can't let another day go by without breaking it down and showing you guys what's going on, because I can't let it. It's just crazy. It's crazy what we're seeing out there, what they're pushing with the Epstein files. So, and all the influencers, it's so much is coming out. So I like, even though it was a long day, I'm here to do the work because we gotta cover this. So welcome everybody. I'm Ace. This is American Fire. We are going to break it down. We are going to get behind the walls of the veils of deception out there in the news, out there in social media, to the truth. You guys get it here. I'm not afraid. I say it like it is. I'm the only one who covered the Steve Bannon stuff for a week before other people started jumping on. I'm the only one who's been cutting, like, unafraid to go after these people and reveal what's going on, even when I just have questions. It's like, we have to get to the truth, and that's what we are doing, because, guys, the real truth is we're winning, and we're winning big. They just don't want us to see it, and they're trying to demoralize us. So we're going to break it down tonight. Welcome. Thank you for watching. Before we get into it, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for your support. I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to the members, especially, who support the channel and make it possible for me to do this show as much as I do. God bless you guys. All right, let's say hey to the Chizat. Welcome, by the way, YouTube, Rumble, X. Welcome to all you guys. I can see all your chats. Please hit it up. I love seeing what you guys have to comment, question. I do my best to get into it with you guys, except for X, because I can't see your chats. I'm sorry, X. Hopefully Elon can fix that. You guys can watch, but you can't talk. Okay. Let's get into it. What's up, Z Grooms? D6 in the house. Cass Sink. Alan Agajanian's in the here. Nick Majors. Mario. What's up, assholes? Moody Water. MRTKO. What's up? Scott Volkovich. Alice Fordham. Jesus Saves. AZ Tropic over there on Rumble. What's up, bro? Linda Telly. Rum Dog. Ralph Fan. Steve Barry. Dude, we got lots of good peeps in here tonight. Dirty Red. Super Soaker. We doing it. Stocks, go. What up, brother? Big B. Let's see. Who am I missing? Moody's here as well. CEOs resign left and right. That's right, AZ. So much crazy stuff. Big B's in Cali. Took your daughter to Disney. Good for you, man. Listen. You know, Disney World just, they announced no Pride Day this year. They canceled it. So, you know what? We're having an effect on culture, guys. These companies are responding. And I'm a huge believer that when a company does something awful, you call it out on that thing. You invoke change. You don't support that. But when they're huge like that, it's like Disney. Like, I love Disney, and I think 85 to 90% of what Disney's created over the last 60, 70 years has been awesome and great for kids and families. But there's that 10 to 20% that's been disgusting. And that you don't let them support it, and you steer them in the right direction. That's what I believe you do. It's like the NFL. I'm not going to stop watching my boys, but I won't give them the halftime show. You know, that's what you do. These giant entities, it's like, we can't boycott everything, or else none of us would be able to do anything. Like, you know, are you going to boycott Amazon? Are you going to boycott Walmart? Are you going to boycott every single company? No. Are you going to not drive your car because, you know, some fruity guy might have made it, might have, you know, put a couple bolts into it? No, you can't do it. It's impossible. We're all too interconnected now. But what we can do is steer the direction. And you know what? I believe I take my kids to Disney because they love it. And, you know, I just teach them the good and the bad, and we enjoy the good. So that's how I believe you have to do it in this modern world, you know? So that's what we got to do. Excuse me. Got a little bubbles there. Okay. Dury Red says, I think Obama, Biden, and Bush has got scrubbed from the Epstein files. No one seems to say their names. I got to tell you, it's very possible. Biden had 4 years. Merrick Garland, the most corrupt attorney general in history, along with Eric Holder from the Obama administration, Biden had 4 years to scrub those babies. 4 years. And maybe more if you go back to the Obama administration, how much they had too. So I got to say, man, you just got to, I don't know. What do you do? You just, I think it's one of the reasons Trump has, been doing what he's doing. He knows like he can trap them on it, but he also knows it doesn't have everything they want. And that's how it is, that's how it goes. So, all right, let's get into it tonight. We're going to start. So this is what tonight's going to look like, just so you guys know. All right. So you guys get an idea. We're going to start with a couple updates on Epstein stuff. And then I want to go into, we're going to deep dive into a lot of the exposure going on with certain influencers. And, some of it's going to be continuing where we've been, but some of it is new stuff coming out. And it's just very interesting. Remember when I showed you guys last night how they did all the, like Massie spouting out this Epstein class, and he was saying it with a bunch of Democrats. Well, that is just building. And we're seeing more and more how all these people are coming out together to demoralize us through this, what I call the greatest psyop ever, and like we could argue over that. I say it right now. Maybe it's not actually the greatest psyop ever, but it's close. You could throw COVID in there. You could throw 9/11. I mean, we got lots of psyops that have happened to us over the years. Lots of them, and some have been massive. But this one is one where so many people are paying attention. I think that it has the potential and maybe, at least from a social media perspective, the largest psyop I've ever seen, because of how hard they are trying to demoralize and crush the MAGA movement doing this. And it tells you they're desperate. How did we start out this year? We went gung-ho to start the year. Venezuela, Minnesota. I mean, it was just like boom, boom, boom. Trump went to Davos, the Greenland stuff. It was all out attack on the deep state. And what have we gotten in response now? We've gotten this massive push on the Epstein stuff to make it about Trump, make it about a cover-up, make it about how this administration is failing us and they are actually the crooks, when nothing could be farther from the truth. This administration is the only ones who've ever made any of this possible, who've ever released any of this stuff. And there's so much going on behind the scenes that nobody talks about. See, when an influencer acts like they know all, they're an idiot or they're flat out lying to you. Those are the only options. I don't care if it's Alex Jones. I don't care if it's Steve Bannon. I don't care if it's Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes, you name it. Whoever thinks they see it all or they have all the connections telling them what's going on, they are lying to you, or they're making it up, or they're just stupid and they really do think they know. Those are the only options. Because, in government, we're talking massive. These are massive operations going on with intel agencies, foreign powers, and then our own administration in the middle of it all. You have people talking to people, operations being carried out, military operations, intelligence operations. So much is hidden. And so when they come out and they act like they know it all, it's a lie. And you got to wonder, why are you doing that? Why? And it's either to puff themselves up, to make themselves famous, like Stu Peters, that total fraud, like Ian Carroll, those guys just, or they're operatives. And that's the question. we're never going to know 100% which way all these people are, but I can show you, who's lying, and I can show you who is at the very least catching on with what everybody else is doing, showing you that they are grifting. Whether the grift is for an operation or whether it's just to join in the crowd and ride the momentum, that I can't always tell you, but I can tell you the false narratives. I can. So let's do, that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And then I'm going to end with the wins, just to remind you guys, we're winning. We're like, stuff is happening that's miraculous that just never would have happened under any other president. And it's not being talked about, and it needs to be. And then a little tribute from the president to Rush Limbaugh at the end, which I think is very appropriate. So let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, Pritzker's brother's Dunzo. Yeah, we talked about that one last night, So somebody brought this out today. Epstein invited gatherings with dozen members of Congress years after his initial arrest. We have the documents right here. To Jeffrey Epstein, you've received an invitation to attend a fundraiser which I'm hosting for Max Baucus. I'd like to add Senator Schumer is likely to attend. Oh boy. Excellent chance to interact with two key Senate Democrats. Oh really? November 2012. What was November 2012? Anybody remember? That was right after Obama was reelected. Interesting. Letting him into the powers of government right after the new election had happened. I hope you received an invite to the party that Congressman Hakeem Jeffries this weekend. Oh, Hakeem Jeffries inviting Jeffrey Epstein to come party in 2013. Well after his conviction. It just keeps getting worse and worse for the Democrats. Congressman Martin Heinrich will be in NYC tomorrow and like to get lunch with you. Please let us know if you're interested. Learning more about his race for Senate in New Mexico if Democrats are going to hold the Senate. Are you telling me that you guys are recruiting Epstein for his money and influence to help the Democrats? What? Oh my goodness. I thought Trump was the one in trouble here. Barbara's back in NY and would love to see if you were available. They know you've met Barbara's friend and U.S. Congresswoman Diana DeGette. It's in New York. Thinks you would like meeting her. She cares about life sciences and thinks she is super. House delegate, New York Democrat. Oh my God. So again, the more this comes out, guys, the worse it is for Democrats. No wonder why they are deflecting like crazy. So the question is, why are all these MAGA people deflecting as well? Now, look at this. Look at this little clip right here. There was a massive... So Alex Jones came out last Friday, and he had this report that Trump railed at the cabinet and said that we got to release all the files. We can't keep doing this, blah, blah, blah. And, he had this huge inner report on it. And then on Sunday, we get this drop with all this list of names. And then there's all these reports that Pam Bondi has said the case is closed. This is all the files out. We got this report from multiple outlets, except for one weird thing is that we haven't actually seen this letter. Nobody has released it. I find that very interesting. I tend not to believe news about the administration until we get official reports. But for everybody thinking there's no more investigations going on, well, here's Todd Blanche himself not that long ago.
But can you say a little bit more? Because as you know, the department has been criticized for not bringing charges against more people. Are there still open investigations related to Jeffrey Epstein?
So what I was laying out in my comments is the statutory, what the statute talks about what we can withhold and the reasons we can withhold it. I wasn't pointing to any particular, I wasn't trying to be coy or otherwise suggest there's some investigation. As you all know, Jay Clayton in New York is in charge of any potential investigations, and I'm not going to comment beyond that on that.
You're referring to Clayton.
He's got somebody in charge of potential investigations. Jordan Sather uncovers this after Maxwell's charges from Technofog, who Technofog is awesome. He's a lawyer. He's anonymous, but he always has great stuff. Says after Maxwell's charge, there was another ongoing grand jury investigation to another possible co-conspirators of Epstein. That investigation has not been made public. So, guys, we have investigations going on behind the scenes. So don't believe the nonsense. And this is why we always have to hear it from the actual from the actual people. I mean, like the people in charge of this, whether it's Bondi or Todd Blanche, who's second in charge of the DOJ, whether it's the investigators themselves, the administration. I mean, listen, we voted these people in. Trump took a bullet for us. Not even joking. He went to prison. Well, I'm sorry. He didn't go to prison. He got arrested. He nearly went to prison, nearly lost his entire fortune when he could have rode off into the sunset just fine, had a term, could have still retired as one of the most successful people in history. But he came back for this fight just so they could drive him through the muck again. I don't think so. So we voted for him. We asked for all this stuff. And now we're going to let the influencers tell us what the Trump administration is accomplishing instead of the man himself. What have they ever given? What have they ever sacrificed for this? I can only think of one influencer who truly sacrificed for MAGA, and that's Charlie Kirk. There's others who've done some stuff. I know Bannon people are like, Bannon went to jail. Well, I exposed that last night. Okay, I broke that down last night. Roger Stone had a great breakdown today of how Bannon lied about Stone. So I'm gonna roll with the guy who took the bullet. That's just me. Okay, that's just me. But we have this, and then MJ Truth put together this amazing breakdown today. You know, I told you guys about Trump's ability to my stupid mouse. I'm sorry, guys. I promise you, I'm working on the new PC stuff. I need to get more RAM. I need to be able to expand all this so I could do a better show and get a new mouse, which I keep forgetting to do. So bear with me with my tech issues, but it's going to come there. All right. So I told you guys about the rug pull. Well, Trump has been doing this before, and this is why it's so believable. Other than the fact we watched it in real time, and people can come on this show and cope all they want, but I know what I saw. I saw Trump rug pull him on the Epstein files, and you can have your arguments. Oh no, he just signed it because of pressure. Really? That doesn't sound like cover up to me. Cover up would have been he vetoes it and it keeps the excuses. Cover up would have been he pushes the Senate not to vote for it. That, my friends, is cover up. Okay, that's all cover up. Signing it and blasting it out the night before to get it passed in under 24 hours is not a cover up. I'm sorry. God, Lord, stop it. Stop it. I have a glitchy mouse wheel and sometimes it takes over. Okay, so this is a long post, but bear with me. Trump says the Epstein file is a hoax, and all of a sudden, oh my God, he's covering it up despite the fact he's done so much already. As I said, Trump sets traps. He understands Democrats, and the media will do the exact opposite of what he said. Here's one example. In August 2019, many people have forgotten about this, by the way. The party led by Pelosi and Schiff openly discussed impeaching Trump over his phone call with Ukraine and Zelensky. This went on until September 24th when Pelosi with Schiff announced first formal impeachment. Day after impeachment started, Trump said, "Look what I found," released the transcript of the call. And then what Trump says in the video, I'm just going to read it so we can get through this faster. This is Adam Schiff. I said, let him lie for a little while, and he lied and got up before Congress, said he copied my phone call. Then I said, we have good news for you. We have it on tape. And he died, and so did Nancy Pelosi. And they didn't know what to do because they already set up the impeachment. So again, Trump has done this before and admitted to it. Admitted to rug pulling him. All right? So again, I mean, this is not unlike Trump. And so for everybody's like, Trump can't play 4D chess. He's just an idiot. He only cares about himself. It's all about a cover-up. Bro, he's done it before. He's done it before. And how did that work out for the Democrats? The impeachments made Trump more popular. They made him the most popular politician of my lifetime. Even Ronald Reagan, who might have had higher approval ratings at times, did not have the fired up, loyal base that Trump has. Trump has a large portion of the country, 35 to 45% of the country, who will vote for him no matter what. He has earned the loyalty. Reagan never had that. Reagan, his approval was high because he was just, people were endeared to him. They liked him, but it was different. It wasn't the same as the intensity of the loyalty of Trump's base. And there's a reason for that. And one of the things is, the man has earned it, but he's also proven it to us. And this is an example. So I wanted to remind everybody of this because I'd forgotten about how Trump had done it. But as I was reading this, I absolutely remembered. Here's Trump in
changed
the
because
clip I did not
by
play.
luck, the phone call was taped.
You know, but anyways,
changed because
it did happen.
by
And oh my God, this mouse is freaking out on me tonight. Anyways. But he's done it before is my point. Now, so knowing the rug pull there, knowing how he's always ahead of these people, none of them are smarter than him. Not anybody in Congress. And I mean, I'm not saying there's nobody in the world smarter than Trump. He's not the smartest man in the world. I'm not saying that. I mean, who knows who is? Okay, it's probably different people for different things. But I will say Trump is one of the most clever people in the world, and he has maybe the best political instincts of anybody in the world. And that is the superpower that's needed in this fight, because it's what's always going to trip up the enemy. And speaking of enemy, let's get to Massie. So Massie today posted this, and I thought this was hilarious because this is not as smart of a post as he thinks it is. This is not the dunk. So Thomas Massie, he knows his constant criticism that comes against him is, dude, you have not said anything about the Epstein files before Trump came back. You were silent on it. And why push for so hard for it now? You know, when it's only being used to try and hurt the Trump administration. And it has to some effect, but it hasn't because there's anything real in there against the Trump administration. The only reason the Epstein files have hurt the Trump administration is because the belief of the lies, the narratives being spun of this cover up. But that's not going to last, because what did I show you guys last night? Only 2% of people care or put it at a high percent of an important issue to them for their vote. 2% of people. And so as this keeps spilling out, as more and more information comes out, it will backfire on them. Trump and them are playing the long game, which is one of the reasons it's good it came out early enough before the midterms, because we were going to go through cycles. When psyops start, they're at their most effective. But it's over time, as the truth comes out, that it blows back. And we're about to hit that turning point. It's coming. It's getting here close. But Massie is in retreat mode. He is in defense mode. Very scared right now because it's starting to fall apart for him. So here he goes. Here are receipts, he says, from 2022 to 2024 for nanards and bots. What's a nanard? Does anybody know what a nanard is? I've never heard this. I was an English major when I first started college. I've never heard of a nanard. Anybody want to help me out on that one? Is that him trying to be like a clever name for retards or something? Nanards. Here are the receipts for nanard. Anyway, by the way, anybody who's ever said this word, nanard, you're not cool. You don't have it going on, bro. If you have to say something like that, that's enough. Even if you weren't a fraud, you lost me at Nanard. Okay, you lost me there. But Here's the receipts, he says, and bots who claim I never post about Epstein. This is how bad it was. So in 2022, I told you guys, okay, he posted once about Epstein before Trump started running again. Here's the one post he put up about Epstein. Not a man to be trusted with your food supply or anything else for that matter. And unlike others, Mr. Gates started the relationship after Mr. Epstein was convicted of sex crimes. He's quoting a story. Do you hear anything about calling it out? We need justice for this. No, he's quoting a story about Bill Gates and Epstein. And that's it. In response to another post. Okay. Cool, Massie. Cool. How about the next one? Well, here's in 2024 when this is the first one, 2024. I demand the release of the Epstein client list. Now, here's what's interesting. Epstein caught in 2019. Died not long after. Ghislaine Maxwell indicted in 2020, caught in 2021. All this time they had investigations that could have been going on, the files. If you truly believe the victims needed justice, as Massie keeps claiming, why wait for so long? Why did it only matter here? Well, Emerald Robinson starts posting stuff and Thomas Massie replies to her and starts it. But look at the timing. February 10th, 24. You know what timing that is, guys? That's right as the Republican primaries start. That is when Trump is now officially running for president. It's about a month and a half before Super Tuesday. Now, Trump never debated. He barely campaigned because he was so far ahead. But isn't the timing interesting? Coinciding exactly when Trump is running. That's the first time Masshole here calls it out. And here's the next one. And this is June. Okay, this is I think this is right after the debate with Biden. So when Trump's at his strongest. Obviously, blackmail is a tool of statecraft. I just haven't seen it deployed against congressmen. I've seen them make bad votes for simple, stupid reasons. Really, Massie, you've never seen blackmail used against congressmen? Come on. Seems likely Epstein was involved with higher level espionage with business leaders in the executive branch. Interesting. Massie just says, I don't believe Epstein was ever involved with Congress, but only involved with business leaders in the executive branch. Who's business leaders in the executive branch? How about Donald J. Trump? Why is Massie only targeting those when we just saw that Epstein had several connections to congressmen? Interesting. Interesting how that all works out. Now, here's the best part about all this, guys. Those tweets, those are Massie, his own words on his receipts. So he literally just showed us that he never cared about the Epstein files until Trump was running for the second time, starts demanding them once the primaries start, and starts calling out the executive branch and business leaders for working with Epstein once Trump trumped Biden. Really interesting stuff. Those are his 3 tweets. Three tweets ever about Epstein. I spent 24 going back. This is the hero. This is the guy that cares so much about disclosure and the victims. Except you can perfectly time pretty much everything, especially when he got serious, to trying to use it to hurt Trump. Even his own words, business leaders, and real. Isn't that interesting? Not celebrities, huh? You don't think celebrities had anything to do with Epstein? Not Congress people who were meeting with him and partying with him? Really, Massie? Only executive branch and business leaders, huh? This is unbelievable. What a fraud this guy is. I hope you guys all see it. By the way, I had somebody write me, and it was very nice of her. She had come on the other night and she had called me a black pillar when I was saying the Steve Bannon stuff, and now It was Tammy. And after seeing my latest Bannon video, she's been awoken. And she apologized to me and said, I'm sorry, I see it now. And so anyways, guys, listen, the receipts are right here. Did anybody watch this show and still think Massie is legit? I just don't see it. Please, please, please. If anybody has any proof Thomas Massie is legit, I need to see it, because I haven't seen a shred of evidence in weeks now, months even. So this guy is the worst. He's the worst. Here's a more Politico. I'm not a fan of Politico, but hey, if they're going to quote Massie, how about this? When was the last time you talked to Speaker Johnson about the Epstein matter at all? This is Massie's own quotes, interview. One day they needed my vote, and I offered to give them my vote if he would issue a press release thanking me for my good work on the Epstein Files Transparency Act. That's all I required to get my vote. And I think he probably went and gave somebody else a bill to pass instead of doing the public statement. So is your vote for sale, Thomas? I don't think this is the principled quote you think it is. You just told us your vote's for sale. I think that's pretty interesting. Doesn't a man of principle just vote yes or no based on if something is good or bad? I mean, who still believes in this guy? I'll tell you who. All the fake influencers, the libertards, all the people who are invested in Trump failing. I'll tell you. David says maybe Massie turned to dark Massie after his wife died. No, he was already going against Trump. He already had supported McCarthy. He already had voted for Biden's bill to pass with the budget bill. He already had done all that before his wife died. No, his wife died is just another interesting kind of weird part of the saga. But he'd already gone dark before that. He was never good. He's always been this guy. Never forget, Thomas Massie openly supported holding Trump accountable during the judicial witch hunt against POTUS. Let's go back in time, shall we? January 2024. Actually, this is the 21st of January 24th. So 2 weeks before he called for the Epstein files. Thomas Massie. This summer, Trump's indictments are going to ripen into convictions. Yeah, this guy thought Trump was going bye-bye and was pushing that narrative. Here's an interesting reminder. Thomas Massie, a surrogate for Governor Ron DeSantis. I'll let that one sit for a second there. Remember I called out DeSantis all during the election? How Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell had gone to him and basically begged him to run against Trump, and he accepted. He accepted becoming part of the Republican, the rhino machine. I'm not saying DeSantis hasn't been a great governor, and maybe, just maybe, he's been awoken back to the MAGA guy I think he could be. Marco Rubio used to be a neocon and is no longer. Trump changed him. I'm not saying DeSantis is irredeemable, but it is a good reminder of where we're at. Thomas Massie said on this week's broadcast of Fox News Sunday, former President Donald Trump's multiple indictments would ripen into convictions. Massie said, the main thing I hear from people back home is they're mad nobody's held accountable in Washington. I think we need to hold Trump accountable. Really? After he shut down our country, hasn't held anybody at the FDA or CDC, so let's hold that guy accountable. Do it through getting it into convictions? Really, Massie? What about saying it, that coming out and saying that, hey, that these indictments against him are fraudulent, that they're made up, that they're a political witch hunt? Why wouldn't you say something like that, Thomas Massie, when everybody knew it? Instead, you're saying they're going to ripen into convictions and we need to hold this guy accountable. Thomas Massie has always hated Donald Trump. Why? Who hates Donald Trump? I'm not talking about regular people who might not like his personality, who don't know him, who barely pay attention. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who work with Donald Trump in politics who hates him. Only the opposition. That's it. Only the deep staters. Only the Democrats or the rhinos, the people who, the unipartiers. That's it. There is no other exceptions. Everyone else, he's the only one who gets stuff done. So they love him. They fall in line. Massie has always hated Trump, even when Trump had no power at the time. That, my friends, is all you need to know. So Massie, thank you for the receipts, because they're a great reminder. These receipts aren't that you care about Epstein. They're the receipts that remind us that you've always hated Trump and you've always sought to undermine him at every opportunity. And you don't care about the victims. Not one damn about them. That's what this reminds me. So thank you for that, Thomas Massie. I appreciate you reminding us. Jesus Save says DeSantis is boarding the Trump train, golfing with POTUS. You know, I will tell you that DeSantis has been excellent since the election ended, since Trump beat his booty in the primaries and sent him back down to the minor leagues and said, bro, you ain't going to mess with me. Since DeSantis has embraced and learned his lesson, he has fallen in line. And it's been great to watch. Now, I hope it stays that way. He was golfing with Trump, but so does Lindsey Graham, and we don't trust Lindsey Graham. So golfing with Trump doesn't necessarily mean anything, but we can hope. And there is some chatter, a little bit of chatter here and there, that after the election in Florida, you know, because DeSantis's term ends this fall. He's done ski. There's going to be a new governor in Florida, hopefully Byron Donalds, out of who's running. And DeSantis will be gone next year. And there's chatter that he might join the Trump administration. We can hope. We can hope. Okay, let's keep going on. Because the Psyop is really, really continuing on. And here's a reminder. This is similar to what we're hearing now, isn't it? Paul Ryan in 2022, former Speaker of the House when Trump first came into office in 2016. Paul Ryan says Trump most likely won't be the Republican nominee in 24 and claims that if he is, Republicans will have no chance of winning the general election. He hates Trump, him and the McConnell wing of the party. The question is, guys, how much do these guys still influence a good bit of Republicans in the Senate and influencers, conservative influencers? You better believe with that Koch brothers money and other money still floating behind the Republicans, the Bush wing of the party, there's still a lot of influence there. And this is what they were psyoping us with before, that Trump won't be the nominee, and if he is, they'll still no chance of winning the election. Well, what is the kind of this is a demoralization campaign to get us to not vote for Trump, to not trust Trump. Well, I'm showing you this to remind you that this always is happening, and it's coming from our side, especially against Trump. And now let's get into how it's happening now. Shawn Ryan. I've never called out Shawn Ryan before. I usually ignore him. Tough dude, podcaster. Does some in-depth stuff with, he loves going into Intel talks and, he interviews a lot of people. He's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. He had to do his whole spiel on Bondi yesterday. And he came and ranted. I'm not going to play it, but he says the false quote that everybody's been attributing to Bondi that she never said. And that is the quote that if the Epstein stuff comes out, the whole government will collapse. That quote keeps spinning around, attributed to Bondi, and she never said it. To his credit, he came out today and said, I was wrong. She never said that. But he doubled down on the Epstein files and how bad they are for the cover-up, how bad the cover-up is. So Shawn Ryan is now jumping in. Well, it's a good time to remember that Shawn Ryan is the one who had Hunter Biden on, tried to humanize him, make him look normal. He's friends with Gavin Newsom and Ro Khanna. How can we trust this guy? How can we trust his judgment? To me, as he takes a break from his podcast and films himself out in the woods.
What was the excuse?
Taking a walk. I just got some thoughts. So angry about what's going on. You know what this is? This is how you get the feeling with an audience that this is important. Guys, today I'm taking a break from my regular show. I just have some real thoughts. This is a big deal. This is how they take themselves off their platform and they look at their audience in the eyes, personalize it. Let's have a one-on-one talk because this is so important. And what I'm seeing is another asset deployed. Jordan Sather calling it out. I think there's a major demoralization campaign being waged against the Patriot America First community, and I don't think it's organic. I wonder why. Maybe because it's coming from everywhere and because there's so few people actually looking through the noise, actually trying to break through it and say what's actually happening. It's all the same talking points. Cover up. Lying about the Bondi quote, the Epstein class, as Thomas Massie's stuff was floating around. It's all the same stuff. But the problem is, what they keep running into is they don't have any evidence to support it. All they have is redactions. Have you noticed they haven't spoken about redactions all week? It's because Ro Khanna and Massie screwed that all up last week. They thought they had a big gotcha. And it blew up in their face when they outed those 4 poor guys who had nothing to do with Epstein at all. Were just part of a lineup. And they outed them as if it was a big deal. And it blew up in their face. So much so that Mark Halperin, who, you know, just a decent reporter. I like his show, even though I strongly disagree with so much of what he says. But he does some excellent reporting on certain things. And one of them is his reporting on the coming nominations for the Democrats. And Ro Khanna was one of the main people. Well, he just released his new rankings today, and Ro Khanna is completely off the board as a top 8 candidate for the Democrats, all because of screwing up with the Epstein stuff. It's coming to bite them. And Ro Khanna wanted to be president. I'll tell you that right now. Now, Christopher Rufo. Excellent. Does excellent work. He's one of the main reasons DEI is dying in America because of his journalism. And he decided to deep dive Nick Fuentes. Well, let's do this tweet first. He does a story on Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes captivated the media with his hyper-real Nazi routine beneath the spectacle, something much darker accumulated around him: betrayal, pedophilia, suicide, murder. Welcome to the freak world of Nick Fuentes. It's all coming out, guys. People are actually doing the work. This is going to spread like wildfire. Now, Milo's been calling this out for a while. I've been calling it out. The Fuentes freaks have come after me. But here's a fun one, because this destroys, and I'm not going to go through the whole story today, but this absolutely destroys the Groyper narrative of their hero, Nick Fuentes, because one of their great enemies, Peter Thiel. This is one of the great enemies. And I'm not saying Peter Thiel is a good dude. Okay. Obviously he had some Epstein ties that are shady. Palantir, all that. Although Palantir's not all powerful like so many people think it is. But the Whitney Webbers of the world, she's a fraud too. She's either a fraud or an idiot. Just because she's so black-pilled. I don't know which it is, but either way, she's wrong. But the point is her work on Peter Thiel has become one of the religion points of the Groyper movement. It is one of the main totems, the columns holding up the movement. It's like, this is a mainstay of our movement. Peter Thiel, technocrat. These people are evil. Palantir is going to destroy the nation. Trump's bad because he talks to the tech guys. Rufo found this. Before Fuentes started criticizing Peter Thiel, he arranged a meeting with one of Thiel's employees in Miami and asked the billionaire to fund his podcast and political operation. Really, Nick? Yeah, I thought he was the devil. But you were really, really happy to take that money, weren't you, buddy? And then when you got rejected, you weren't even important enough to be paid attention to, that's when you went rogue on Thiel, when you went full ham on him. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing when you see this stuff come to light. We are just seeing again and again, man, how fake these people are. Fuentes is a total fraud. I believe he's a Fed. But even if he's not a Fed, he's a fraud. And the Groypers hate me for saying it because I am right. And I don't know what they're going to have to say about this one. So those Fuentes worshipers who end up watching this video at some point, I'd love to hear your explanation for this one. Oh, Rufo's lying. Really? This dude has A+ credentials on his work. A+. I really don't think he would publish this in a lie. So we're exposing him. But Fuentes is a big one because Fuentes is part of the we're real America first, along with Marjorie Taylor Green, along with a lot of the Bannon crew, Robert Barnes especially. He's a big one. Along with Dave Smith and the Libertards. There's a whole lot of these people that we're the real America first. And all they've been doing is trying to destroy MAGA and what Trump's accomplishing. Out them all. Ro Khanna today props up Rich Baris. These are the kind of things I look for. You don't do stuff like this. You just don't. Now, is it possible Ro Khanna just saw Rich Baris's tweet? Rich Baris is one of the main Bannon guys. People's pundit, my bad. One of the main guys. Large data pool, big data pool. Hated by Democrats, are supposed to be. He supposedly hates Democrats and rhino Republicans, always calling them out. Big MAGA guy, Rich Baris. Well, Baris has been crazy on the demoralization train lately on the Trump stuff and calling out what's coming for the midterms, Republicans. Some of it true, some of it just way overboard. But for Ro Khanna to call him out and saying people's pundit calls balls and strikes, I'm sure he disagrees with a lot of what I stand for. He's spot on below. And this is the tweet. Calling out Trump, saying Trump was outmaneuvered by Massie and Ro Khanna, who forced it via petition process to circumvent leadership. Trump and the White House were attempting to pressure Marjorie Taylor Green, Nancy Mason, Boebert to not support the petition. He was beaten. Was he? Because Rich, the Senate was going to vote it down until Trump said, let's release them all. Why is he leaving that part out? Why is he just joining the Massie Ro Khanna train? I don't know, guys. This stuff is getting crazy. I don't want Rich to be bad. I like Rich. I've listened to his show a lot. He was one of the main people I listened to leading up to the election. His stuff was excellent. But in the last 6 weeks, he has completely turned into somebody who, if you listen to him, you believe this Trump administration is a complete and utter failure. They are breaking promises. They're going to lose everything. It's already lost. He hasn't accomplished anything yet. That's what Rich Baris has been touting. Sometimes guys, you're a sleeper agent and you don't turn until it's time. Can't say for sure if that's Rich or if he's just lost his damn mind. But I'm telling you, it's looking worse and worse all the time. Ro Khanna is one of the worst. Then we get this exposure today. Krassenstein, total liberal influencer. I would never give him the time of day. Except for he just got busted posting his conservative group account post on the wrong account. And this guy, Brian Krassenstein, listen to this. I was one of Trump's biggest supporters. I defended him through everything. This is not true. He's always hated Trump. Media text. I stuck by him because I believe he was different. I believe he was going to drain the swamp. That was the whole point. He campaigned on it, exposing, protecting kids. I bought it fully. Do you understand what this is showing us, guys? This is showing us that if it's him, it's going to be 100,000 others on the Democratic side. Burner accounts. Because this is an accident. He posted this on the wrong X account. This means a lot of the uproar you're hearing on social media is actually operatives using burner accounts, bots or frauds like this guy. And he just got busted. So how much of this discussion, when I post something calling out Thomas Massie and I get 10 comments saying, how dare you? Oh, you're Israel, blah, blah, blah. You're total shill. You're like, Trump betrayed us. How many of those are this and not real at all? I would say it's probably a good portion of them. The Psyop guys, there are cracks everywhere, and it is in full force. And now we're getting Marjorie Taylor Green calling out Q. But wait a second. After the Epstein files just came out, we've had Bill Maher say the Q stuff was right, apologize. Where do I apologize to him, he said. We have the largest streamer in the world, Asmongold, saying Q is right. Holy crap, Q is right. We have Mario Nawfal, one of the biggest accounts on X News, saying I mocked the Q stuff and now it's correct. And guess what? As this is all coming out, as people are like, oh my God, the Q stuff was right all along. As if on Q, you see what I did there? As if on Q, Marjorie Taylor Green has to go into go mode and shoot this down. She responding to Patriotic Blonde, who's a total hack. Correct. When they intentionally post Q nods, she's saying the Trump administration intentionally posts Q nods and laughs about how MAGA eats it up. Wake up, you've been brainwashed. Now, does that even sound plausible to you? That Trump just has the time to sit back on his social media account and be like, here's a Q proof. Ha ha ha. The hundreds of times they've done it. You really think that sounds like something President Trump's got time to do? Does President Trump sound to you like somebody who trolls his own base? Has he ever shown any indication of that at all? Because that's what Marjorie Taylor Green wants us to believe. Funnily enough, right after all the Epstein files came out, proving most of the stuff posted by Q correct, especially all the stuff about the pedophiles and the cabal. What timing on this? MJ Truth cuts it down perfect. Says, according to MTG, Trump is tone deaf about the Epstein issues and laughs at us Q-tards behind our back. LOL. Well, hey, anything can be true at this point, but what's really, really true, I know for a fact, is the effect this has on everybody. After covering Trump for many years, learned he really is a master at setting traps, manipulating the left and the MSM to report on things they otherwise would not report on. Virtually zero coverage during Obama and Biden's presidencies. The only POTUS to turn the heat up to max was Trump by telling everyone to stop looking. It's a hoax. It amplifies something called the Streisand effect on both sides. 100%. 100%. Jordan Sather. Logging more demoralization examples. Notable messaging now consists of attacking Q as well. It is, isn't it? Isn't that funny how it all comes out after all this validation? Patriotic Blonde came out of nowhere online over the past year or two. She's one of the biggest TDS patriots out there. True. And she just blew up for no reason. Not surprised to see MTG repost her. And then Patriot Voice also, QAnon John repost them both. All people who've done a 180 in recent months. Why? Why a 180? You guys who've been here a while know I have followed the Trump stuff as close as anybody. I called the election. I called JD Vance as his partner. I called how big he'd win. I called the House. I called the Senate. I've called several things that Trump has accomplished. I told you guys these things were going to happen, not because I read Q posts, not because I have some crystal ball, none of that, but because I trust Trump and I understand him and how he's working. That's it. And it's proven me right time and time and time again. What do we like to joke about here? That I'm 96.7% right most of the time. You know, so many predictions come true. The Trump Russia stuff, the Putin stuff, we keep seeing that coming out. I mean, I've called so many things. It's because I trust Trump. That's it. And I understand him. And so all this time, all this Trump stuff, it's come to this. And all these other people who are supposed to be the ones closest to Trump, who have been wrong about so much, they're supposed to be now telling us what to think about all this when we've been winning like crazy. Think about it this way, guys. If you are disappointed right now, if you're disappointed, if you're struggling with your vote for Trump or that the Trump administration has been a disappointment to you, despite all that's happened in the last year, which is more than any president's done in 1 year ever, despite all that, if you're disappointed with Trump, ask yourself, if this Epstein thing hadn't even been a thing, if it just didn't exist, how much would that change? How much would that change your opinion right now? If the answer is a lot, then you have been psyoped. You bought in. Because it's taking all the attention away from all the accomplishments. The other major psyop that's hurt the Trump administration, the popularity at least a little bit, is Israel. Which that's another huge psyop right there, because Trump obviously, I mean, I've given 100 examples of how he constantly turns Netanyahu down, how he constantly doesn't give Netanyahu what he wants. Those are the two big ones. So if you're disappointed in Trump and you believe those two things, and those are the reasons you're disappointed in him, you've been psyoped. You bought it. You let it get to you. The good news is you can wake up. The good news is you can see the light. That we are advancing America first. We are getting our sovereignty back. We are rebuilding our country in ways that are miraculous. It's a miracle what's happening. It really is. Demoralization campaign reaching a fever pitch. Alex Jones platforming Robert Barnes and Kyle Seraphin yesterday. Seraphin is such a fraud. Barnes, I mean, I've been calling out Barnes for a while now, but Seraphin I don't talk about it a lot because I don't watch InfoWars, but he's awful. He's been wrong about so much. Two Patriot truth tellers who to me glow from outer space. InfoWars has always reeked of controlled opposition. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at this. There's Alex Jones posting. Top FBI whistleblower responds to Pam Bondi's DOJ trying again to sucker the American people into believing that all the Epstein files have been released. Oh my God. They also examined Epstein documents to reveal the Trilateral Commission operative. Barnes. President Trump will forever be known as the Epstein president if he does not stop the cover-up now. Come on. This stuff is so stupid. It's so ridiculous. Drives me insane. How do you guys, how does anybody still trust these people? I just don't get it. Okay. I got a couple of things I want to share in a minute here to finish, just to show you how much we're winning. But before I do that, if you guys don't mind, hit that like. If you're learning anything, if you're encouraged, if you're just flat out enjoying the show, the like is the easiest, simplest way to support my show. Doesn't cost you anything. Just even if you're on your TV, if you can use that remote, just go down, hit that like. I appreciate you. And then if you're new, subscribe. Thank you so much. And if you want to support the channel, just jump in the channel, jump in the description, click that link, get a free month of the Patreon, and get in the Discord. See what it's like in this community, the best community on the internet. See what it's like. And then decide if you don't want to keep supporting the channel. That's fine. But I want you to at least try it. And that's why I give you a free month to do it. Let me catch up with a couple things here in the chat. Let's see. Justice T-Bone asks, that's all you had to say is he's friends with Newscomb and it evidently reveals his lack of judgment. Isn't that enough? No, he's friends with Ro Khanna and Newsom. We're talking about Shawn Ryan here. He's had several people, intelligence people on his podcast that he elevates that are constantly wrong. And now he's joining in. He tried to elevate Hunter Biden and humanize Hunter Biden. And now he is joining in the Psyop narrative. So T-Bone, if that's not enough for you, I don't know what is. But listen, I'm not a trusting person in general with influencers. It doesn't take me a lot to not trust them. It really doesn't. You have to earn trust. And Shawn Ryan hasn't earned it. So if you want to trust an influencer who's clearly got terrible judgment, who wasn't smart enough to research the Pam Bondi quote before he did an entire video on it, if you want that to be your guy, go for it. But to me, I see that stuff and I say hack, and I'm happy to call that out. And if I'm wrong, fine, but he's got to prove it. And so far, not good. So yeah, that's enough for me. If you're a friend with Gavin Newsom, you're an idiot. You're either an idiot or you're total fraud. Gavin Newsom is one of the worst of the worst. There's no excuses for that. Tammy loves this show now. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate having you in here. Jesus Saves says JD Vance for work for Teal. You think JD's rogue? Rogue as in, no, JD Vance is awesome. He's going to be fine. Listen, you guys want to do the guilt by association thing. We could do that all day long. There's a difference between working for somebody, having ties with them, being close to them at some point, and then growing. JD Vance was a young man there. He's had time to grow. Okay. His judgment hasn't stayed there. There's no indication he's close to Teal over the last 5 years at all. None. Zippo. There is plenty of indication that he went harder MAGA than almost everyone else after he saw who Trump was. In 2017, JD Vance, when he said the Trump is Hitler stuff, actually it wasn't 2017, it was 2016, I believe, or 2015 even. It was a while ago, almost a decade ago. He was 32 years old because he's my age. He's 42. 32 years old. Do you think as a 32-year-old, it's not hard to get caught up in a narrative? To be influenced by something out there? How many people at 32 have it all together? No, you live and you learn. And a lot of people very, very few people saw much in Trump when he first started running. They had to be shown. So, and by the way, Trump used to be a hardcore, hardcore is strong. He used to be a Democrat. He used to be friends with the Clintons. You know what woke him up? What woke him up is seeing how disgusting they all were. The Epstein stuff woke up. It red-pilled Trump. And since then, he's been on a mission to destroy them. The timeline lines up exactly. So it's very possible to be red-pilled. Look at Marco Rubio. I do not get at all. And after what happened to Trump with 2020, him getting shot, the 4 years, all the nonstop attacks, do you really think Trump didn't vet the hell out of JD Vance? I mean, to think JD Vance is bad is you're calling Trump an idiot. That's what you're doing. You think you're smarter than Trump. How well has that played out for anybody else? You have to think what it means when you think these things. Okay? And a lot of the people after JD Vance, they've listened to Whitney Webb crap. They've listened to Nick Fuentes. They've gotten that in their heads. Peter Thiel. Listen, good or bad, Peter Thiel is not the devil operating everything behind the scenes. He's not. Palantir is not nearly as powerful as so many people think. It's just not happening. So, and everybody who's actually close to it knows that. What's up, Jordan? Good to see you, man. It's been a long time. MH says it lives to mind the files and now not so much. Well, they've really fallen off. Absolutely. Jesus says that JD did a 180 reserving judgment. That's fine. CA Human says Andy said he never talked personally with Trump when he said that stuff. That's right. Yeah. It was completely. Yeah, listen, I'm a Christian. My entire faith and belief system is built upon redemption and the ability to change. So you can't be a Christian and not believe that people can change. It's impossible, especially when they have Jesus. It's impossible. You can't, if you say you believe in Jesus and you don't believe in change, you're not a Christian. You don't know what you actually say you believe. And so everybody's capable of change. But you got to bring receipts. You got to earn trust. And that's how you know when somebody's changed or not. JD Vance has completely earned my trust. I have zero doubts about JD. And you know what? If you go back 8 years, 10 years, and that's the only bad thing you can find on JD Vance, and ever since then he's batted 1,000. In my opinion, he has. I haven't seen one thing in 10 years JD Vance has done or said to make me worry about him. And I watch closer than almost anyone. I haven't heard anybody say it from behind the scenes. I haven't seen, there has been no leaks on it. There's been nothing ever leaked about JD Vance being bad. Ever. All there is a freaking stupid Whitney Webb part of her book where she writes 2 lines about JD Vance, about how he worked for Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel donated to his first Senate campaign, and clearly he is now, that is the proof that he is controlled by Peter Thiel and is there to usher in a technocracy. That is everything. Everything everybody's ever doubted about JD Vance comes from that right there, the Whitney Webb stuff. And it's very little with no evidence at all and no source. It's just her speculating. And everybody's taking it as gospel truth on JD Vance. And not only that, that's because it's been parroted ever since by people like Nick Fuentes, who have, deep followings for no good reason other than it's a bunch of simps, and incels who just, in a demasculinized world are angry at women and looking for somebody to blame. So they're going to blame women or the Jews or black people for their woes. And so they follow Nick Fuentes. That's it. And this narrative is spread because of Whitney Webb and then people take that one quote of JD Vance 10 years ago saying that he feared that Trump could be like a Hitler. And that's it. That's all anybody has on JD Vance in the last decade. I'm sorry, but if you are in the public sphere all over the place, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to show signs of being a fraud. I mean, look how easy it is to break down Thomas Massie. There are signs. There are always signs. And no one, and I mean no one, can point anything to me against JD Vance in the last decade. Well, nobody goes a whole decade without slipping up. Not one thing. I'm still waiting. So if somebody can show me, I'll look. But I haven't seen anything. I've seen him pretty much batting 1,000. And the only people who can bat 1,000 are the true believers. The only people I've seen bat 1,000, they're the people I trust. Trump, JD Vance, Rubio in the last few years. I mean, there's several others. I could go down the list, but what's the point? But my point is like, well, Jesus saves. I mean, listen, I'll flat out tell you, I know I'm correct, but I'll leave open the fact that, there's a 2% chance I'm not on this. And what I'll ask you is for you to ask yourself where your doubts came from. Because if it came from Whitney Webb, you've been psyoped. If it came from a quote of 10 years ago and everything he's done since then has shown you otherwise, you got to ask yourself, why are you still holding on to that? And that's what I'd say about that. Like, why? I'm always open to changing my mind. I've changed my mind about several things over the years, and I always will with the evidence. But it has to be like, if I'm going to distrust somebody who's been so good, I got to see receipts, and there's just no receipts on Vance. What's up, Johnny Strayhorn? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's finish with some wins and why it's so obvious we're being demoralized. There's a demoralization psyop going on. Look at this. I saw this today and my jaw dropped. Visa and green card approvals for family-based immigration. 70% of legal immigration are down across the board. Not only this, guys, there was another thing that came out that said 45% of illegals are no longer even trying to apply for benefits that they were getting under the Biden administration. That is the Trump effect. That is cultural changes. When you look at cultural changes, that is downstream of policies, what we're seeing. This is a miracle. We're getting rid of the immigration issue. It's just phasing out. And it's going to continue doing that, as well as the deportations. But the Trump administration has created an environment now that's actually taking care of the problem. It's starting to course correct on its own. And that is how you know the policy is extremely effective. This is miraculous stuff. This is not stuff that could have happened under any other president. And so when you take that into effect, you take the foreign policy stuff, you take the one big beautiful bill with the tax cuts that are now permanent, the deregulations we're getting, we're just seeing miracles happen that could completely remake our country under this president. And they're trying to get us all caught up as if the Epstein files are all that matters. Listen, the Epstein files matter. I'm not pretending they don't. I'm one of the ones who wanted to see him when he came in. I've been on that train for years. Of course they matter. I'm not stupid enough to say that. They matter. Accountability matters. It does. But to act as if, first of all, reframing stuff about the Epstein files that just aren't true. like this is a big cover up, as if the Trump administration is worse than the Biden administration, who never even talked about them. And we actually have been given millions and millions of files from the Trump administration. Like to push that out there, to act as if Trump is covering for all his buddies, to, all this stuff. It's insanity. And it's clear they're trying to distract us from the winning as our country is actually healing. Another win, Mike Lee today. Don't let anyone trick you into thinking the enforcing the talking filibusters are impossible or fraught with unmanageable risk. It's neither of those things. It could take time, but we could pass the Save America Act. So here's Mike. I'm not going to play it because it's getting late. But Mike Lee, encouraging stuff about the SAVE Act. We could get the SAVE Act passed. That could save our country for generations by shoring up our elections. Kash Patel today. FBI focus back to where it belongs under Trump. He's quoting the story. President Trump has rebuilt the FBI into a true mission-focused organization, serve Americans for years to come, and the 25 numbers speak for themselves. 20% drop in nationwide murder, 197% increase in arrests, 1,800 gangs and criminal enterprises disrupted, 210% increase, 2,100 kilos of fentanyl seized, nihilistic violent extremism arrests up 490%, over 6,000 child victims located, espionage arrests up 35%, multiple successful surges, and almost 9,000 arrests. Listen, a lot of the crowd told us we would never, like the FBI just needed to be disbanded. They couldn't be redeemed. Rich Baris was out there saying it all the time. Robert Barnes was saying it all the time. And yet Trump went in there and has actually turned the FBI into a force for good again. Our country is safer than it's been in 100 years. We're getting rid of the illegals, and they're actually going after crime. We are cleaning up corrupt nation. Isn't it crazy to think? Like, it makes you wonder, how much else were we told from influencers that just wasn't true? But this is, again, another thing that's miraculous. Do not underestimate what a big deal that 20% drop in murder rate is, to get murder rates to the early 1900s again. Guys, how crazy is that? We're showing that maybe some of our institutions are actually salvageable, which, by the way, is better than burning it all down, because burning it all down creates chaos. It creates a vacuum. And it also means you have to rebuild. So if they had completely disbanded the FBI, we would have had a power vacuum of crime fighting for years as they rebuilt it. What were they just going to replace it with? Just another task force? Basically would have been the same thing with a different name on it. Just move everybody over, give it a good name. I mean, that makes no sense, does it? So instead you do this. This is pretty incredible. Dan Bongino, it's John Solomon on his show today. Made an interesting prediction. I'm going to let Solomon play because Solomon's always great. Let's listen to Johnny Boy here.
Now we have a bunch of lazy senators who want to threaten the filibuster and not get off their feet and talk and really represent the people and stand for what they believe in. And all the American people are asking John Thune to do is to restore the Senate to the way it used to work before Mitch McConnell's lazy filibuster ideas kind of came into play. And I think that the American people are going to be there. Here's what I think is going to happen, Dan. And I think you probably know some of this because you had a foresight into some of the things that the Bureau now knows that was kept from the American public. I think Donald Trump is going to change the narrative in America. I think he's going to change some senators' minds, and he's going to do it by revealing some of the things that Chris Wray and that Chris Krebs and other major officials who were in charge of the integrity of our elections and who told us it was a perfect election in 2020. He's going to start revealing some of the intelligence that was kept from the American people. And we're going to see that our foreign adversaries have monkeyed with our system more than we knew, more than those driver's licenses coming into Chicago that you helped get all of us to understand about a few months ago about China sending fake driver's licenses to help Joe Biden in. There are going to be significant efforts by foreign powers, some friends, some enemies, that were trying to meddle in the system, and they got pretty far down that path. And I think when senators realized their state could have been targeted, when senators realized that the intention of the identities of some of their voters might have been assumed, I think there's going to be a different debate in America. And I think if the president takes the time to educate people and show them that maybe the stories we got from the last leadership weren't true, I think he's going to pick off the votes. And then the American people are going to put some pressure on John Thune, and they're going to surgically implant a stiff back, and he's going to change that filibuster for this particular thing, make it a standing filibuster, make the Democrats talk till they drop, and then we'll get a vote in the summer. But I think there's some big, significant, and very troubling revelations about the vulnerabilities of our elections that the president is about to unveil on the American public. Now we have a bunch of lazy senators who want to threaten the...
How huge will that be if Solomon's right? Solomon's been great on stuff so far. Be absolutely huge. Get these elections cleaned up. I mean, this is winning, guys. And then we get stuff like this for the economy. The major trade deal with Japan is now going into effect. $550 billion investment in the U.S. Scale of these projects so large cannot be done without one very special word, tariffs. Right in time, by the way, for what some people think we might get the tariff decision next week. I have a feeling we won't, but we'll see. Maybe we will get it. But this is more pressure on the Supreme Court. Tariffs are clearly working. So listen, the wins are all over. So don't buy in to the psyop stuff. Jesus, I saw your thing. Listen, why would I trust anything Sarah Spain says about J.D. Vance? Sarah Spain's a hardcore woke liberal who hates everything Trump. So why would I take her word when she sees J.D. Vance and says, oh, he feels creepy? Why would I take her word for it? She didn't have anything legitimate. I don't. Why would you quote her? I don't understand that. I feel like you should know better than that. We can't trust these people. Can't trust these people. Give me receipts. Give me receipts. I don't want to hear, Sarah Spain's article. Come on, man. That's crazy. Sarah Spain's, she's terrible. She is awful. I want to trust a thing she writes ever. Are we in trouble and have to lock and load? I mean, have your guns, but I don't think it's going to come to that. Cash Inc. Did Cash say they captured 6 of the top 10? I believe so. Yeah. All right, guys, listen, it's late. I do want to finish on this though. Growing up, today is the 5th anniversary of Rush Limbaugh dying. Well, now it's tomorrow, but, Rush Limbaugh is one of my heroes. I grew up listening to Rush. I never heard anybody speak like him before. I was already right-leaning because of my parents, but it was Rush who got me interested in politics. It was Rush who got me to understand politics. It was he who taught me how to always view like what's happening in our country through hope, through expectancy, through how we can change things. Rush was the guy who made politics not only interesting but fun, funny, and he always had such a light touch even on the most intense things. So I just love Rush Limbaugh. He is the GOAT. If I'm ever, anything even close to him, that would be a great honor. He's just the best. So God bless Rush. And Trump had a very nice little honorarium, little message here. So I just want to play this before I leave tonight, and then we'll close after this.
Well, this is the 5th anniversary of the loss of a really great man, a great conservative, somebody that loved our country, loved his family, loved a lot of things, but he was a friend of mine, Rush Limbaugh. I'd never met Rush when I announced that I was running. I'll never forget, 2015, and I got a call all excited that Rush Limbaugh just endorsed you. I never met him. He liked my opening speech. He liked when I got up in June and I said, we got bad borders, we got bad crime, we got bad everything. And he liked it. I came down the escalator with now our First Lady, and he thought it was great. And he endorsed me, and then I got to know him, and I realized what a great guy he was. But it's 5 years that we miss Rush. As Sean Hannity would often say, there will never be another Rush Limbaugh. So to his family, his great wife and family, I just want to say we miss you all. We miss him, and there'll never be anybody like him. Thank you very much.
Amen to that. There'll never be another one. Think of how great Rush was to be one of the first conservatives that mattered to endorse Trump. He was always ahead of the curve, the smartest man, maybe to ever do it, maybe to ever understand American politics in the modern age. Just, anyways, God bless you, Rush Limbaugh. Thank you. There's no show right here that I'm doing without Rush Limbaugh. And so, just a great guy. And, I wish I'd gotten to meet him at some point. He was the king. So, all right, guys, love you. Let's end in a prayer, call tonight. So, anyways, and just leave it with this. We're winning. And, all we got to do is keep seeing through the noise and actually paying attention to what's actually happening. And when you do that, you can't help but see it. We're winning big. So, Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody here. Be with them, Lord, and whatever their needs are, Lord, I pray you listen to their prayers. And Father, just protect our president, give him wisdom, protect his entire administration, fill them with wisdom and boldness, Father. And Lord, we just pray for this nation, for prosperity, peace, and justice like we've never seen before. Let it just spread, God. And I just pray the peace of God over everybody watching, that God, will you give everybody discernment and the ability to just feel in their spirit, Lord, cutting through the noise, and myself as well. And so, Lord, that I never mislead anybody. And if I do, I catch it quickly. And I pray that in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. God bless you guys. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. Hit the like on your way out if you don't mind. Subscribe if you're new, and consider supporting the channel if you like what you see. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Headlines screaming like a siren.